Hello, Farming Simulator fans. I appreciate you guys coming back to the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel once again. This is episode number 9. And yeah, if you just watched episode number 8, we're basically picking up right where we left off. It's been just a few minutes of gameplay time has went by. I've repositioned a few things. I purchased back in episode number 7. I did this off camera. I purchased this larger air seeder, this John Deere air seeder, and this tractor. Did some logging off camera as well to be able to fund it. And just because we need, with some of the larger fields that we have, even though field number 13 is still relatively small, we need something that's a little bit more powerful as far as tractor wise is concerned, and we need something that is a little bit wider as far as seed planting distribution, etc. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and get started on planting field number 13. I'm going to hire a worker for this so that we can get up and do other things on the farm. I think that we're going to mow next, get some grass collected so that we can start working on our dairy cattle production, because it's just something I want to be able to do. So this John Deere air seeder is sort of a combination unit. It will seed and fertilize at the same time, but I don't have any fertilizer loaded in it right now because I just want to seed this field. And unfortunately, the only problem with this unit that I have found is that the seed and fertilize distribution doesn't isn't equal, and not that it's supposed to be or not that it has to be. The other problem is that even though I have a mod installed which basically stops the in-game helpers once seed has been run out, that mod doesn't seem to work with this particular rig and this particular setup. And so if I'm not paying attention, then what will end up happening is he'll run out of either seed or fertilizer, and usually it's seed that he runs out of first, and he'll just keep on moving because it looks at it as a whole. It looks at both the amount of seed and the amount of fertilizer as a whole unit instead of individual units. And so if he runs out of seed, he's not going to stop because he still has fertilizer. And what will end up happening is you can't see where he's left off and what he's got going on. So I may look to see if I can find a different mod or a better mod or whatever. But for now, because doesn't really matter. I mean, not putting fertilizer in this unit isn't that big of a thing for me. We're going to spray anyway, just because we need the moisture content, quite honestly, because it's not going to rain anytime soon. So let's go ahead and get this guy fired up. And like I said, we will hire a worker, and we're going to plant this field in barley. So I've already done our calculations as far as what we need and when we need it, how we need it. And why can't we hire a worker? Oh, maybe the worker doesn't know how to turn the unit on. There's some quirky things with this. Well, I know hire a worker worked the other day because I did it that way. All right. Let's see. Let's turn that off. We may just have to do this. over. I believe this is a 14. We're going to go slightly less. We're going to shift this back over. That. Well, we may just have to do this ourselves. Oh well. So anyway, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys coming back. It's always a pleasure doing these videos. It's been sort of an extension of the hobby for me, and as I said, I've enjoyed doing this. So hopefully you guys checked out a couple of those YouTube channels that I mentioned, Bipolar Prophet and Reefy 1952. Great YouTube channels and excellent farm sim content, and a little bit more as well. So hopefully you've done that. Hopefully you've checked out PCSG. If you haven't, you certainly need to do that. Again, we've got some cool things in the works. Talk more about that at a later time, but just come over and join us. Join in the fun. I know I have hired a worker with this rig before on another map, so I don't know if it's I don't know if I've got maybe a mod conflict with something else that I've installed. I don't know. I'll have to look into that at a later time, but it won't take too long to just go ahead and sow this field, and it'll be done. Go do something else on the farm. So as I was saying in episode 8, which I recorded just before this episode, so these are sort of back-to-back session for me, is we only have 3 weekends to go until Farming Sim 17 comes out. And I tell you what, I'm excited, and I know that I've got my width set way lower than what it needs to be for this seeder, but I had been having some gaps, and so I need to, it's more than 12 meters, I think it's 13 something, but it's okay. The overlap's not gonna hurt anyone. It maybe takes an additional minute or two to sow this field. But yeah, we've got 3 weekends to go. This is, I'm recording this on the 8th of October. You probably won't see it until the following weekend. But in any event, we've got just 3 weekends, 3 full weekends to go until Farming Sim 17 is released and it's available. We're less than 20 days away. Again, date that I'm talking, when you're listening to this, will even be closer. Um, but a lot of really cool things have come out in the news regarding FS17. A new dev blog came out that talked about how mods were going to work, specifically for console. I don't see that the way that PC users have utilized mods, I really don't see that changing with between FS15 and FS17. I still think that we're going to be able to go out to our favorite mod hosting website and of course fight through all that potential, those screen pop-ups and all that kind of stuff. Boy, that irritates the bejesus out of me. But that's a conversation for a different time and a different place and all of that good stuff. But I think as PC users, we're still going to have access to those sites. I think our favorite modders will continue to produce either map mods or equipment mods or whatever, and they will put that content out there on those particular places. But for console users, obviously mods is something that's completely new for FS17. Never before, with FS13 or FS15, have mods been available on the console. And that, that in and of itself, if I think about the fact that I have just probably when I recorded episode 7, I probably surpassed that episode. Probably took me over the 700 hour mark of what I have invested in playing FS15. Okay, so over 700 hours I'm at right now. If I had been restricted to the 2 maps that came with Farming Sim 15 when it released, when I purchased it, which was Bjornholm and Westbridge Hills, and then obviously the 3rd map came about with the gold expansion pack. So we got Sosnovka, I believe is how that's pronounced. If not, I'm sorry. I don't think I would have 700 hours in this game. I really don't think so, because I think I would have become bored quite some time ago, probably about 600 hours ago. And I sort of based that on the fact of how quickly I have sort of become bored with American Truck Simulator. I played a lot of American Truck Simulator when it first came out. We had 2 states, California and Nevada. I visited all those cities time and time again. Got a bit bored with it. Then when Arizona came out, that opened up some new excitement, some new opportunities, and got excited about it again, began playing it again. And so yeah, and with Farm Sim, if I didn't have access to the mod maps like Paradise Hills, Black Rock Valley, Graceland, States, Oklahoma, just to name a few, I would have gotten seriously bored with this game and would not have accumulated over 700 hours of gameplay. And it's nothing against Giants. It's just that we need variety. Now, of course, I take my hat off to a guy like the Bipolar Prophet, for example, who I sort of raved about in the previous episode about the fact that he's got 133 episodes on his Old Ridge Farm, I believe is what it's called, and that's dedication. But I think the storyline he's built into that has helped keep it going for him personally, as well as for you, the audience that is watching his long-running series. So it works hand in hand, I believe. But one of the things that I read yesterday about mods for consoles, and I know you console guys are excited because you're going to get mods, but what I'm driving right now, and I know that not everyone is a fan of green tractors that have deers on them, but most likely you are not going to see any John Deere equipment as mods in for console. You may get tractors that are green and yellow that may be called something else, maybe Robert Elk, or Robert Moose, or Bill Moose, or something like that, to try to disguise the name just a little bit. But you're not going to see branded John Deere equipment, and the reason for that is because of licensing and intellectual property laws and such as that. Because the way that mods are going to be distributed is through the Mod Hub, and that is a sort of a shared combination resource that is run by Giants and screened by Giants, but also has to be screened and approved by Sony and Microsoft. And so the content that they put out yesterday, that Giants put out yesterday, basically said that modders can use, they can mod equipment based on already licensed manufacturers, so things that Giants already has a license for in the game. Mod developers can utilize those, or they can, basically do fictional manufacturers, vendors, whatever. But if they want to use anything that's a licensed type situation, like John Deere, for example, they're going to have to get approval from Giants for that, and I just don't see that happening, because John Deere is just, from what I've read, they're very picky about the way that their product is depicted. They don't want, they're never going to become a licensed vendor through Giants, because, again, sort of the way that the product would be depicted, and it's just never going to happen. So and if you've been around the flight sim community for any length of time, you certainly know that virtual airlines that depict real-world carriers have a really difficult time keeping their websites up and everything, because of the whole intellectual property and the whole branding and such. And one of the most difficult ones is FedEx. FedEx actively sends cease and desist letters out to basically hobbyists that are trying to run just a website depicting FedEx, because maybe they're fans of FedEx or whatever, and you put something out there, and using their logos and all that sort of stuff, you can get into a bit of a pickle. Now, of course, that brings up the valid question: well, how come, why can Mod Hub, for example, or some of the other mod hosting websites that host PC mods, how can they get away with doing what they're doing? And quite honestly, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't play one on TV, but it's probably just boils down to the fact that these sites are not necessarily on John Deere's radar. They're not big enough to try to go after and shut down. Maybe some of them have, maybe some of them haven't, I don't know. But obviously a site, a company like Sony and Microsoft, they are not going to get their name and reputation and all that kind of stuff out there like that. And so they're just not going to deal with it. And they're going to essentially shut it down, because they have the power to do that, because they control the mod hub, or whatever it's called. But so if you are, if you're a fan of John Deere, as an example, then I highly suggest that you buy a PC and get Farm Sim for the PC, because we're just going to park this guy here, and so yeah, we're gonna do that. We will come back and spray at some other time, probably be off camera when we come back and spray, because we're gonna go and do something else right now, which is run this big guy, this mower. This is a machine that I rented, and want to take a look at things now. Um, we have, the grass skirts around field number 2, for example, is quite large, and I also think that we have something that's planted in grass down along the pig zone, or behind the pig zone, and I think that's where we're actually going to drive right now. We're going to go check that out and see what we have down at the pig zone. We'll get in cab for this and cut this grass. It's a fantastic machine, the Corona Big M 500. This thing will it sort of looks like the Star Trek Enterprise, with those the way it's folded up like that, and but it's a fantastic machine. It'll cut and either leave a wide swath that you'll need to rake up, or you can get it to put everything into a nice neat pile for you, which is what I like to do. So we're just going to drive down and check out this grass field down by the pig zone, and probably cut that if we can, and then come up and cut the skirts around field number 2, and just kind of see how much grass that we can manage to accommodate or accumulate in that period of time. And for now, at least for today, what we're going to do today, we're just going to cut the grass. It's going to throw it in a swath, and then we'll pick that up with our forage harvester and store it in loose form. We may do some baling on this map. We really don't have to, because we have the grain store, or we have the storage capacity for that. But may do some baling, just because that's kind of fun to do occasionally. And I've got a Corona baler that wraps round bale silage, and I've got some other equipment that's really pretty cool that I want to use on the map. Let's kind of see what I want to do here. I think we'll just go up and down, and we'll use GPS mod to help us keep some semi-straight lines as best as possible. Go ahead and lower our wings down there. And I think automatic, I think he's got about a 13.3. I've never had to adjust his course down any, so I think we'll just go with that. Some of them, some of it's right, some of it's wrong, as far as how the GPS mod depicts the working width of equipment. Again, sometimes it gets it right, sometimes it gets it wrong. I think in this case we're okay, we're right. And let's go ahead and fire this guy up. And actually, I need to bring my HUD back, because I want to make sure enable wide spreading, enable swath deposit. That's what we want right there. So we'll go ahead and HUD the hides, or hide the HUDs, if I could speak this morning. Turn this big guy on. And we're off. So yeah, I like this machine. For simplicity purposes, we don't necessarily have to worry about um, we don't have to worry about um, tethering it and all that kind of stuff. We're just gonna work with grass, obviously straw and silage to produce total mixed rations, and that's going to work out for us. That's all we're really going to need to do. So let's see. Talked about mods. Talked about mods for consoles. What else? What else is going on in the world of Farming Simulator? I think I mentioned in episode 8 that I'm getting closer and closer to getting my multiplayer server going, and that is true. It is going to be the multiplayer server is going to be on American Outback. Sort of took a poll with some of the folks that are interested in joining the multiplayer server, and that was something that they were interested in playing. And so I wanted somewhat of a variety. There I go again, not being able to speak correctly. I wanted something of a variety. It's something I hadn't played before, something that I'm currently not playing. So I think that'll work out well. I was gonna go with a British map, but some of the folks that are going to be involved with helping me out with that multiplayer farm wanted to do American Outback. So that's what we're going to do. Most likely when 17 comes out, I will probably move the multiplayer environment to 17 and sort of abandon 15 as far as multiplayer goes. I'm not gonna pay for two multiplayer dedicated servers. So. So yeah, so that's coming along. If you're interested in playing on the multiplayer server, I think I'd mentioned this way back in episode 3 or 4 or 5 when I talked about that I was possibly looking into doing a dedicated server. I had mentioned that before I let you have access to it, I kind of need to get to know you a little bit, just because, and I'm not making any assumptions to the type of characters of anyone that's watching that might be interested in multiplayer, but there is a large number of individuals who get some level of thrill out of essentially wrecking people's multiplayer servers, going in and unhitching all the equipment, moving equipment around, going in and basically destroying crops or whatever, and I just don't have time for that. I don't want, and I'm not suggesting that that's just young people. I'm sure there are plenty of old people, older individuals who get their kicks out of causing other people frustration. That's just not about who I am. I don't have time for that, and I'm wanting to provide something that is unique and new for some of the people that I know, some of my friends, some of the folks that drive over at Grizzly Bear Trucking. And so I would suggest that if it's something that you're interested in doing, we are going to use soil mod. We are going to basically try to farm and do everything as real as we can possibly make it. If you're interested in doing that, then I would suggest go to Grizzly Bear Trucking and sign up with us. get access to our forums and get to know us. Join us on TeamSpeak and get to know us, and yeah, we'll get you set up on the multiplayer server. It is, I only have room for six concurrent connections. If if activity, if interest gets higher, then obviously I'll look at expanding that. But I think for right now, the number of people that are kind of interested that I know of is in the probably 4 to 5 range, and I don't think that we'll all be on the server at the same time and have a problem with that. So yeah, if that's something that is of interest to you. My journey to find a multiplayer server, or a dedicated host, I should say, has been quite a daunting task. And the reason why I say that is because I've gone through 3 different hosts before I finally found one that I think is solid, pretty stable. I'm getting decent performance out of it. I've had the multiplayer server up for about a week and a half, and I set it up with just the default Westbridge Hills that came with the map, no mods, and basically we had a few folks connect to the server over a period of several days. Some did weekends, I did some during the week, in the evenings and the mornings, different time slots like that, and it remained pretty stable. I'm also following progress of another individual that's using the same hosting company to host his dedicated server, and he's also seeing more or less some of the same positive things coming from these guys. And it's Very Games is the host, and so yeah, it's really my this is like the last host that I know about that let's see. Anyway, it's sort of the last host that I know about. There may be others, but yeah, it's starting to get pretty slim pickings as far as hosts that have access or servers here in the USA. I mean, I didn't want to sign up for a company that didn't have US servers because, well, I don't necessarily want the lag. Most of my buddies that are interested in multiplaying with me live also here in North America, so we wanted something that was local as possible, and so yeah, it seems to be working out okay. Time will tell, but if that's something that you're interested in, then check us out over at Grizzly Bear Trucking. Even if you don't play ATS, even if you don't play ATS, then still join up with us, sign up for the forums, introduce yourself, and we'll I'm not going to bang into that tree again now that we've got damage mod. All right. Let's head. So we've cut that field. We'll come down and pick that grass up momentarily. We'll go back up to actually, I'll tell you what we could do. since we're going to be down in this neighborhood, we will just go down to the end of this field, this long field here, and cut a swath of grass going back towards the farm. Like this. Maybe we can avoid hitting famous last words. And we'll just see how it goes with the multiplayer server. You know, I'll be honest and say that, you know, my level of patience, you know, if somebody gets on the server and is going to cause problems, you know, I'm gonna ban you. Zero tolerance is I just don't have any patience for these kind of things. We'll just make a turn and just go down. Down this way here. Flip the sky 9 degrees. Through here. We could probably get a little bit more if we had done this, maybe 2 cuts, but that's okay. I think this will be enough grass for what we need initially. Grass grows relatively quick. I think it's like the grass will regrow in 6 hours, 8 hours of game day, so it's not like we have to wait 4 days before we have grass again. And of course, if need be, you know, we always have the luxury of planting we can plant a field in grass if we want to, if we need to, if we get to a point to where that we feel like that we need more grass than what we have, you know, fields for. Start cutting this. Corn looks nice and healthy. So I think I got sidetracked. I was talking about corn earlier, and this is just probably just a part of getting older as you jump, you jump thoughts. You start talking about something else before you finish the other thought. If anyone can relate to that, let me know. But I'm sure it's just a feature of getting older, getting more mature in our years. But in any event, we harvested the first crop of corn, cut that into silage before we installed the soil mod, and that was in an effort to try to boost our economy just a little bit, give us some more operating cash to get started. That was successful. We made quite a good amount of money on that harvest, but I think, going to probably look at taking this cornfield, probably going to cut it again for silage, but probably won't be transporting it, at least not in as large of a capacity, down to the BGA. We may send some to the BGA just to keep that going, because I think that we've got a relationship with those people that manage the BGA, and I think that they they need our they need our silage. But at the same time, I think that let's see, turn that back on. At the same time, I think at the same time I'm a bit stuck. I think at the same time we want to perhaps look at taking some of that silage and sending it to our partners at the compost facility, as well as obviously we're going to need some of that silage for our own use for our cattle. So we're going to have to think about this in those terms from now on. When and if we start getting a bit short on funds, because obviously we have yet to sell any crop. We harvested wheat on field 1 before soil mod. All of that wheat has actually gone into producing seeds. We've taken some of the barley that was in the silos when we bought this farm, have likewise turned that into seed. We have sugar beets that we have yet to sell, kind of maybe looking to see if maybe we might have a great demand on sugar beets, but most likely that's not going to happen. That's just the way your luck goes. And so we haven't sold anything for profit. So I've been working down at the timber mill, keeping them stocked with wood, and that's actually been fairly profitable for us. We've managed to sell whole logs cut to 5 meters, as well as supplying the timber mills, making the boards and the pallets and the other objects down there. I'm not sure what those are, some kind of wood boxes, but that's worked out well. We're still getting $2,000 an hour on our wind turbine, so that's good. But we haven't really done anything for profit as far as farming goes, so that's I guess that's kind of interesting. And before, I would harvest a product or harvest a crop and pretty much sell it to keep the funds going, because I'll admit, I wasn't that much into forestry until I got my joystick working, and because that really makes it a lot easier running the Ponzi and loading the logs up and all that kind of stuff. So grass down here, and then we'll head up the other side, and that should probably take us up to the end of this episode. And we'll cut this up this direction, and hopefully these trees and such won't be too big of an obstacle for us. And then we will call our mowing, our grass cutting and everything, we'll call this successful, and then we'll just need to pick this stuff up. I'll do a little bit of that on camera, but I won't bore you with the whole task of picking up the grass. And again, at some stage we may look at doing some baling, but because of the fact because Stevie has been so thoughtful in giving us open storage, bulk storage, loose storage, whatever you want to call it, we don't have to worry necessarily about baling, because we've got the storage facility to just pick the stuff up loose and store it. Now, if we have enough grass to where I think that it will meet our needs as far as what we need for our cows, then what we will probably do is take the rest of it once we get it all picked up and we can kind of get an idea of how much we actually have. We'll take the rest of it and haul it to the compost facility. And we'll just come around this way. I could have done a better job spacing myself for this pass, but I think we're gonna have plenty of grass. I'm not. Maybe I'll go back down this other side here to my right momentarily. As I do have, I think, another hour left on this rental. You know, I was thinking the other night, and as I said, we've got essentially 3 more weekends as I'm recording this series. We've got essentially 3 more weekends before FS17 comes out. I don't know at this particular point in time, I don't know just exactly how long this series, Paradise Hills, is going to run for me. I'll be honest that when FS17 comes out, and I think I can speak for a lot of people that produce content for YouTube, I think that's going to take I think that's going to take a lot of our attention, just because, the reason why most of us do this is it's just an extension of our gaming. It's an extension of our gaming to basically show to you what we're doing, because we enjoy doing that. I make absolutely zero money from this, and I have no interest in doing that whatsoever. And I know many of the folks that I follow, it's the same way. This is something we enjoy doing. It's something that we enjoy sharing with you all. And before I return this, I'm not going to get dinged on fuel and dirt. So we are going to just quickly go over here and refuel this guy. And then we'll take him up the hill and wash him right quick. And then, but, we do this for the fact that we enjoy playing these titles, and it's an extension of that gameplay that we just happen to record and share that with whomever is willing to watch. But for me, I'm excited about FS17, and as soon as I have access to that, I'm going to want to play. And of course, it's dropping in the middle of the week, and I work for a living still, and I'm looking forward to retirement. But obviously, my time is going to be somewhat limited, and when I'm going to be able to play it, I think it comes out on a Tuesday, and so yeah. So I would guess that most of my time is going to be spent with FS17. And while I'm not 100% saying that, well, 15 is dead when 17 comes out, it just kind of depends. I think it depends on how soon mods are made available for FS17, what type of mods are made available for FS17, etc. Um, so, likewise, I'm sure that um, when the rescale project for ATS comes out, or when Paris comes out for ETS2, things like that, I'm sure that that's going to take some time away from what we're doing. Okay, we are in this field. So I think I'd said that I was going to wash this tractor. Let's just take it up the hill and wash it really quick. And then we will connect to our forage wagon, which is someplace. I'm not sure where it is. I think it's down below. Because this thing is getting dirty. And of course, the way FS15 works, all you've really got to do is just wash one side or one area, and the entire tractor gets clean. So not not ultra realistic, but good enough for me. And we will go down and at least position this to our forage wagon, which is just right down here. That was really a bad job of getting connected, but It worked. All right. So let's, we are at the top of the hour for recording time. We're pretty darn close to it. I'm going to take this guy and just, I think I'll refuel the tractor because he's probably getting fairly low, and shut him off and start fueling him. Yep, he's going, and I think we also have to connect the PTO shaft up to this guy because that's probably the case. Yep, and I think I will just go ahead and say thank you for watching and go ahead and close out this episode. I think this was episode number 9. I think time is on my side this Saturday morning, so I think that um, I will go ahead and do a third episode here, and we will, during this third episode, we need to spray that field number 13 down south, and then we need to spray it um, with herbicide, and then we need to pick up the grass. And I think that once we complete the task of picking up the grass, we'll obviously know how much grass we will have in our storage, and that will tell us, how much we can maybe take down to the uh, compost facility once we get prepped for our cows, which we will be buying. I think probably 25, maybe 50 head of dairy cows. Get that going, and put the stop milk cell in so that we've got to transport our milk down to the dairy for maximum cost. And so yeah, we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. If you're not following, please do that. Um, I guess the correct terminology in YouTube is subscribe. So please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate that. Also like the video, and please come back for the next episode. Thanks again. Goodbye.